This has got to be some of the best news I have ever heard for Uber and Lyft drivers, at least in one particular market. What up, folks? Once again, it is indeed your boy Tim with a fairly cheerful rideshare video. This comes to you from a Verge article titled Uber and Lyft now required to pay Massachusetts rideshare drivers $32 an hour. Drivers will get benefits too, but still be independent contractors. Wow. Now, we talked about Seattle before because Seattle has also had some really big wins where I think drivers are making like $1.50 per mile or something like that. But I've seen this from a number of articles and I decided to read around because I didn't think it was actually true. Made no mistake about it, I don't, pull any punches. I drive only when there are earnings guarantees or other incentives like surge pricing and things like that. Fact is, in my market, ride sharing doesn't pay shit, so it's not worth getting in the vehicle. But $32 an hour, this is absolutely great news for drivers. But in addition to $32 an hour, I want you to hear how this came down. Rideshare drivers in Massachusetts will soon get company-provided benefits as well as a minimum pay of $32.50 per hour, starting on August 15th. Now, what's really good about that, we've covered what happened in Minneapolis, where the drivers had to fight for damn near a year and a half to finally get better pay. And even now, even though they won, their pay and their benefits do not begin until January of next year. So the fight will be about 2 years old or more by the time they get their money. The idea that these folks are going to get paid on August 15th shows that the individuals fighting on behalf of drivers really meant business. Wow. And I want you to hear from the Attorney General. She is the one that apparently took upon herself, sounds like almost out of anger, to defend drivers. When you hear the verbiage and what's being stated here, you'll see that it sounds like she definitely was down with drivers from almost a point of being angry after dealing with Uber and Lyft. By the way, in addition to the $32.50 an hour or whatever the case may be, Uber and Lyft also agreed to pay a settlement. So they're paying back pay to drivers, former and current drivers. They got to pay out a total of $175 million. It should come as no surprise that most of that's coming from Uber. After all, Uber has a lot more drivers, a lot more traffic, a lot more trips and customers. But $175 million is going to cover back pay for current and former drivers. Now, listen to this Attorney General. This is what I was talking about. Sounds like she definitely was on our side, almost from a point of anger. Her name is Andrea Joy Mitchell. She's the Attorney General out there in Massachusetts. She states, for years, we have heard from drivers about the difficulties and struggles they face daily without access to fair pay and benefits. Despite the role they play in our transportation system and even our economy, this settlement is a win for working people, plain and simple. Damn right. I like this woman, even though she is not in my jurisdiction. Wow. I really like the language, and she's correct. For years, we've been bitching about this. Hell, I've been making videos for at least 3 years, and I know a lot of other content creators that go considerably back further than I do. I've been driving off and on since 2014, so I know the business. I got thousands of trips under my belt. Lots of pay cuts for drivers over the years have become the standard. There is part of this settlement literally prevents them from rolling back pay. I want you to hear this. In addition to the $32.50 per hour, they get yearly inflation-based pay raises. So their pay will continue to rise with the cost of inflation. We know as drivers from Uber and Lyft, our pay has went down over the years. If you started driving back when I did 2014 or any of the 2000 teens, you make a lot less than you did back then. There has been pay cut after pay cut after pay cut. And by the way, none of this translated to the passengers. For the passengers, they've been paying more and more and more to catch a ride. So it's not like our pay has a damn thing to do with what the passengers are being charged. Our pay has went down substantially, and the passengers are paying far more than they did when Uber and Lyft started. Also, in addition to yearly inflation raises, they will receive employee-style benefits such as sick leave. They can work and earn up to 40 hours of sick leave, so that's a whole week, and that will be paid at $20 an hour. So it's not the minimum wage, but you are sick, you are at home, unable to work for a week, and you will actually receive some income. This is like completely unheard of for us rideshare drivers. These are like really, really big wins. In addition to sick leave, they will also be given a small stipend so that they can go out and purchase healthcare plans. Obviously, in the gig economy, the overwhelming majority of folks working gig jobs, delivering food, driving passengers around, Grubhub, Uber Eats, DoorDash, nobody has healthcare. Nobody has any health insurance because the companies do not provide it. So in Massachusetts, now they have an option, and they are receiving assistance financially from the actual companies, where then they can get on, maybe go online and go with the Affordable Care Act that Obama put in place and get some type of health care. Won't be the best, but it sure as hell is better than nothing. Last but not least, I love this one. Oh my God, do I love this one. They will cover work-related injuries. You already know what I'm about to talk about. Murders in drive-bys. Passengers getting raped, getting their ass kicked, or better yet, drivers getting raped, getting their ass kicked. Stories that I cover all damn day long on the channel. Now they will cover work-related injuries. A lot of drivers are injured while doing this. If you follow this channel, you've seen everything from beatings up to and including loss of life. So work-related injuries are very, very common. So this is a huge win for Massachusetts. Hopefully, it will light the way for other markets to try this. We've seen the fight in Minneapolis took forever. But at the end of the day, it's going to be very difficult for us drivers to gain any territory unless we get politicians on our side. I've been saying this for well over 2 years now. Strikes don't really work very well in ride sharing. There's not enough unity. Passengers don't give a damn about your salary. You need to convince politicians to make it law. Here is something that is incredibly, insanely beneficial to drivers that I didn't even expect, but this also came out of this settlement from this Andrea Joy woman. Wow. To ensure they are complying with the agreement, the companies have to carry out annual audits and submit reports to the Attorney General's office. Punishments for violations could include any applicable restitution, fines, and penalties, according to the published settlement. So not only do they have to do all this shit for drivers, they got to continue every year sending audits to the Attorney General so that they can make sure that Uber and Lyft are not trying to snake their way out of it. Wow. I don't know who this Attorney General lady is, but I'm sure Uber and Lyft are going to be doing everything they can come the next election to put money into whoever her opponent is to get rid of her. This is a huge, huge victory for drivers in that area. Nevertheless, folks, let me know what you think it is. $32.50 per hour. Now, because we get paid per mile, many drivers do not even know what they earn per hour. It varies greatly from market to market. In my market, for instance, we're paid about 72 to 75 cents a mile, Uber, Lyft, and I can do on average about 3 trips per hour. Most trips in my market, the passengers going, maybe 5 miles or so, not much more than that. We're not going to get anywhere near $32.50 per hour in my market on any given day. I'd say half that. Half that is very difficult to earn. It is very difficult to make 15 or 16 some odd dollars. What about it? $16 and a quarter? That ain't even easy to make. So $32.50, that's insane. So shout out to Massachusetts for this. Do you know how much you average per hour? I'd be curious to see in the comments. Do you know what you're making per mile in your market? Feel free to state that along with the city. I'm just curious if we can get a list going to see what some markets are paying. It is your boy Tim. Feel free to smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next video.